Hello, and thank you for joining us for today's Public Good App House event. I'm Mina Urbina, and I'll be your host today. Nonprofits need to meet their clients' needs, no matter where they are, and increasingly the where is on mobile devices. How can mental health and crisis intervention organizations use chat in a scalable way? In this demo event, three nonprofits share how they are offering personalized and timely support for their clients. Public Good App House events are an initiative of TechSoup's Caravan Studios, works closely with nonprofits, communities, and local organizations, such as libraries, to design technology solutions to help nonprofits address some of their most pressing problems. For example, the Range app identifies the time and location for free summertime meals for kids. Apps currently in development address additional needs identified by nonprofits, such as managing volunteer deployment and helping to find and fund shelter for survivors of domestic violence. You can learn more at caravanstudios.org. Before we get into today's content, I want to welcome you to the TechSoup Global Network, especially for those of you who are new here. At TechSoup, we believe technology like smartphones, internet connectivity, training, and more have the power to serve our communities better. And today's speakers, with their Tech for Good app demos, will give you a good taste for what this looks like in action. So here today, we have someone from Twilio. And if I can have Jacob Talbot, Director of Campaigns and Product Marketing, to come up and tell us a little bit about Twilio.org.
Thanks so much, Mina. It's such a pleasure to be here. Thanks to everyone for joining. As Mina mentioned, I'm the Director of Campaigns and Product Marketing here at Twilio.org. And if you're new to Twilio, we're the leading digital engagement platform that enables organizations to reach people on any channel like text, video, and email at any scale. And over the last few years, we've all seen this rapid acceleration in digital communications. And when you hear the word digital communications, you may think about things like Zoom calls with your team, WhatsApp group with your friends. But what's so amazing about the organizations here today is they're all using the power of digital communications to change lives and support people in really incredible, profound ways. And it's builders at organizations like Tech Matters and Lifeline and the Trevor Project that show us all the power of technology to support people at incredible scale. So I want to say thank you to the builders at these amazing organizations, and thank you to TechSoup for bringing us all together for this event. There's nothing like seeing innovative solutions like these in action to inspire us all. And that's what's so special about the Public Good App House, that we get to see organizations present exactly how solutions like this can be used to support people. So for those of you who are inspired to build after seeing today's event, you're interested in how you might be able to use digital communications in your own programs, I encourage you to reach out to us at Twilio.org. We partner with TechSoup to provide product credits and discounts to nonprofits around the world. And you can learn more about our programs to support you at Twilio.org. So with that, I'd love to pass things back to Mina and look forward to the presentations today. Thanks, everyone.
So as mentioned, in today's presentation, we'll have Dee Luo, Senior Product Manager at Tech Matters, Kieran Patel, IT Administrator of Lifeline, and John Callery, Senior Vice President of Technology at the Trevor Project. So let's thank them all for being here with us today. So first up, let's welcome Dee Luo, Senior Product Manager at Tech Matters. Dee Luo is a Senior Product Manager at Silicon Valley at Tech Matters, a Silicon Valley-based nonprofit organization that leverages the power of tech to support social sector innovators and advance large-scale positive social change. Dee has experience building software as a service, or SaaS, business software after working at Yext, a New York-based technology company, and has worked on pro bono projects for international social enterprises as a past fellow of the Moving World Institute. Dee is based in New York City. Today's demo focuses on Aselo, helping the world's children. Aselo is a cloud-based, open-source contact center for children helplines that connects young people on the platforms they use with the help they need. So without further ado, let's welcome Dee Luo.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Dee, and I am a Senior Product Manager at Tech Matters. I'm here today to talk about Aselo, a modern contact center platform developed by Tech Matters in partnership with the Child Helpline movement. Across the world, child helplines receive over 25 million calls annually, and over 30% of calls can go unanswered due to lack of resources. We realized that most helplines have dated technology solutions and still primarily focus on voice calls, while kids are moving online more and more to social media. So While each helpline that we meet has their own operating philosophies, the commonality of their work means there's a lot of opportunity to provide a technology solution that can be shared across helplines, while still being flexible enough to be customized to each helpline's needs. Our role in building Aselo is to provide helpline partners with the tech tools to make the crisis response movement more powerful. So, onto the demo. Aselo is browser-based, so helpline staff can log on for their shifts from any location with an internet connection. With Aselo, callers can reach out to the helpline using their preferred communication channels across voice and supported text-based channels. The single pane interface, which is what you're seeing here, is designed so that counselors can view incoming voice and text conversations across channels, manage active conversations with a simple chat window, and capture data about the caller all in one unified place. We've built several efficiency tools to give counselors more time to focus on active counseling. For example, we have a chatbot, which you can see in that active conversation pane in the middle, that captures basic demographic information from the caller and auto-populates the data forms from that information collected. Counselors can choose from a list of customized canned responses set by their helpline management, and instances where the helpline has preset messaging for how to answer frequently asked questions. We also automatically flag to the counselor if a call or chat has come in previously from a user. You can see that in that little yellow banner across the top right-hand pane. And so we'll flag that based on an identifier, such as phone number or Facebook user ID, and counselors can easily look back at previous data records for that content. In the rightmost pane, you'll see that data collection is built right into Aselo so that counselors can capture the information they need while in conversation with a caller. We work with each helpline to customize which data fields they want to capture, which fields are required, and what the input options are. For helplines that need case management, we have an optional case management module that allows counselors to create case records, keeping all necessary information in one place. For each case, a counselor can record internal notes, external referrals, reported incidents, and documents such as filed reports. And then once a conversation has ended, the counselor will save the record. Helplines can then choose to trigger our customizable post-conversation survey, which allows them to collect feedback on the quality of service they received and aggregate that feedback into reports. Switching over now to supervisor capabilities, Aselo is designed to give helpline management extensive tools to view and report on their team's operations. Aselo provides two main sets of reporting dashboards for management teams to report on operational and programmatic trends of their helpline. Operational dashboards show call center activity, tracking counselor call time statistics and abandoned call volumes. Programmatic dashboards are built from a standard reporting framework and give helpline managers insight into the types of calls they are getting. This screenshot shows a breakdown of incoming calls by category of the call, and the flexible filters across the top allow you to slice and dice the data so helpline management can see what types of calls are coming in for specific demographic groups. Next slide. Beyond that, there are many more optional and customizable features that are worth calling out in Aselo. For example, the Aselo interface can be translated into the helpline's preferred local language. We can work with the helpline to set up automated messaging for operating hours, welcome and goodbye messages, and data collection consent. We can configure IVR and ITR triaging based on the service requested or the caller's preferred language. We have integrations with local reporting portals for reporting child sexual abuse material online. And lastly, we are expanding support to other types of crisis response helplines, such as gender-based violence lines and online abuse reporting hotlines. Next slide. We are building Aselo as a modern open source platform to strengthen the crisis response movement. If you have any questions about the Aselo platform, or if you run a crisis response helpline that might be interested in adopting Aselo, please reach out to us at contact@aselo.org or visit our website at aselo.org. Thank you.
So next up, let's welcome Kieran Patel, IT administrator at Trans Lifeline Hotline, provides peer support and crisis support, and the microgrants program provides low barrier grants to trans people in need of legal name changes and updated government IDs, hormone replacement therapy, as well as funds for trans people who are incarcerated. As IT administrator, Kieran Patel helps maintain and develop the technological infrastructure behind these services. Today's demo focuses on Trans Lifeline's hotline dashboard. Lifeline maintains their hotline telephone system via Twilio, allowing for private, secure, and dispersed connections without the use of a traditional physical call center. Additionally, using Twilio, Lifeline built a custom dashboard system for its operators to log their calls, review them, and for its quality assurance team to easily gather statistics on types of calls and callers, all while guaranteeing total anonymity. So, with that, let's welcome Kieran Patel to the stage.
Hi, thank you so much for the introduction. So let's get right into it. Yeah, so first, a little bit of background about Lifeline. We are an organization based in peer support, meaning that as a crisis hotline, we offer support to trans callers from trans operators. And a problem that we encountered in building this organization is that crisis support for people experiencing suicidal ideation or even actively planning suicide is that crisis support is a practice that's bound up in carceral institutions. We know that calling emergency services for trans people experiencing suicidality overall does not improve the situation. The state of policing and the risk of non consensual hospitalization puts suicidal people even more at risk in general, not to mention the unique discrimination that trans people are subject to in these situations. Therefore, our model is to offer care with an informed consent model where we do not call emergency services on behalf of a caller unless we are given explicit instructions by the caller to do, and we've informed them about potential outcomes. So our problem then was to create a tech infrastructure for the hotline that could support this model. So the basic version of our solution is that we just needed a telephony system that could connect our dispersed team of operators to callers to support some kind of data logging for internal review and for quality assurance, and also to keep both callers and operators' identities anonymous to each other. But we wanted to be more specific with our implementation to create a telephonic system to be used in line with those abolitionist values. So our approach was to create a hotline infrastructure that actually wouldn't allow us to go back on our word. That word being that we would never use that geolocation data to send emergency services to a caller without their consent. And you'll see that the technology we use does just that. Our operators cannot access that location data. So let's get into the demo. To see that in effect, I'm going to walk through what actually happens when someone calls the hotline. So for our call routing and hosting, we use Twilio, which we've also used to create that custom dashboard for our operators to log calls. So when an individual calls the hotline, their number is logged by Twilio such that operators are not able to see it. Instead, that phone number is given a code name, like this example on the slide, and that code name does not contain any information related to the caller's actual identity, but instead is used by our hotline and quality assurance staff to associate, aggregate, and review caller data, meaning that operators themselves cannot see a phone number or any other information that might be associated with the phone number of the caller. Likewise, our operator is routed through Twilio as well, so the caller can never see the operator's number. So instead, when a call comes through the hotline, the operator will see an incoming call from our internal number that then routes them through to the caller. And in relation to that, operators are not able to access location data related to the caller's phone number or IP address, and that information can't be made available using our custom dashboard. That's because that information, the IP address, the phone number, is all stored as encrypted aggregate data through Twilio. So Twilio allows us easily and intentionally to control the flow of incoming data, protect protect the anonymity of callers, while also making sure that our staff can access enough information to review and improve our services. In association with a caller's code name, operators can assign general informational tags to the call, such as the caller's gender, their experience with suicidality, or their religion, to name a few of those tags. All of this information is collected for two reasons. One, so that our quality assurance team can review that and aggregate data, and also just for general data review. For instance, if we want to see if we've received increased calls from individuals who identify themselves as Catholic after a comment from the Pope on trans-specific issues, we can do that using this tagging system. So in summary, our hotline system and associated dashboard allow our operators to provide that peer support through calls anonymously and securely, while also still allowing us to collect data provided to us in order to understand how we can provide bigger community impact. So our call to action would be to honor the autonomy of those in crisis, to focus on how we can build community divested from comms, and also just generally to consider how we might build tech intentionally to be in line with our values.
So now let's welcome John Callery, Senior Vice President of Technology at the Trevor Project. John is the founding member of the technology department at the world's leading provider of suicide prevention and crisis intervention services for LGBTQ youth. John is proud to oversee a growing team of 50 talented professionals across user experience, product development, artificial intelligence research, and development, engineering, and technology operations. In today's demo, we'll focus on Twilio Flex plus Salesforce, creating a best-in-class user experience for youth in crisis and counselors. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to John.
Thank you so much for inviting me here today to share how we're leveraging Twilio Flex to support youth in crisis. Our mission at the Trevor Project is to end suicide among LGBTQ youth. In addition to our prevention-based programs, including public education, peer support, research, and advocacy, we also operate 24/7 crisis intervention services via phone, chat, and text. While we are currently operating exclusively in the United States, I'm really excited to share that we will be opening in Mexico by the end of this year as part of our global expansion strategy. Perfect. During my tenure at the Trevor Project, we've leveraged multiple platforms to deliver our life-saving services to LGBTQ youth. We started on iCarol, migrated to Salesforce Live Agent and Live Message, and we are launching our chat and text services on Twilio Flex on June 7th. While we are currently leveraging Salesforce as our youth contact CRM, we are also building our own platform from the ground up, which we will launch in Mexico when we start offering our services there. At the Trevor Project, we've been very fortunate to have hired an incredible user experience team comprised of 3 researchers and 2 designers. While Twilio Flex already has an incredible user experience, Twilio's developer-first approach has allowed our UX team to further enhance the interface to uniquely meet the needs of our 3 core user groups: youth, volunteer crisis counselors, and supervisors. So we'll go ahead and start this journey with our youth experience. Like I mentioned, the customer experience for Twilio Flex looks great right out of the box. Next slide. After extensive research and design, our product and engineering teams transformed this experience to meet the needs of our users while conforming to our new branding standards. The screenshot on the left shows what the experience looks like if the youth is waiting in our queue. The screenshot in the center shows the chat itself. And the final screenshot on the right shows how we prompt for a CSAT survey after a chat has ended. So let's go ahead and move on to our counselor experience, or what you might refer to as the agent experience in a typical contact center. As you may know, Twilio offers a few ways to integrate Flex with a CRM. Many contact centers embed the CRM into the Flex experience. But in order to make the transition easier for our thousands of volunteer counselors, we chose an intermediary step where we embed Flex into Salesforce. Like before, Flex already offers a great experience out of the box. This is what a typical counselor might see when they first start their shift. They click the Trevor Digital button in the bottom left of their screen, and our custom Flex panel displays. Here, the counselor sets themselves as available. Once available, the counselor is routed their first chat. Once they accept the inbound chat, our custom case record appears on the screen. Like a previous slide, we have a couple of custom attributes here. We have a panel that shows if the contact has reached out before, a knowledge base, and a couple of timers for our counselors. And if queues are long and depending on a number of criteria, our counselors may also opt to take a second chat. While these interfaces look quite simple, there's a lot of youth and counselor research that has informed various details. For example, we heard from counselors that rapport with youth could be damaged if they accidentally called them by the wrong name. While Flex doesn't natively feed the name of the contact into the chat panel, we use this research to extract the youth name from the case and feed it into the chat panel for our counselors. Finally, let's take a look at our supervision experience. When crisis counselors are on a shift, we have a team of supervisors who monitor conversations and provide support and coaching to counselors in real time. Once again, Flex provides a very robust and user-friendly experience right out of the box. Our UX team took Flex already robust supervision experience to the next level feeding in details about our counselors, and providing numerous flags and indicators that provide our supervision team with enhanced situational awareness during their conversation.
So now we'll go ahead and start asking our panelists some questions. So first, I'm going to start from Joan, and this is for Dee. Can Aselo be used beyond child helpline?
Yes, Aselo, the way we built Aselo is that the data forms are completely customizable. So while we started with child helplines, we definitely see the use of Aselo expanding beyond child helplines. We've started to work with gender-based violence lines and internet reporting hotlines, but I think the use cases could be endless. So yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you. And this is from Deborah to everyone. Are these platforms available across the USA and territories like the US Virgin Islands? And what about other countries? And I know that the Trevor Project, we covered that a little bit, but if other platforms could talk about that as well.
For Aselo, at least, we are working very internationally. We work with helplines in Zambia, South Africa, the Philippines, Thailand, some in the US and South America as well. So we are definitely an international platform and again can support things like localization and translations. So yes, definitely available wherever helpline is looking to.
Yeah, so to speak to that question from Lifeline, our staff is based in North America, so our specific hotline dashboard is only available within the US and Canada as far as interfacing with our operators.
Perfect. Thank you. And another question for Dee, is there an API or integration of other integration options available for?
Yeah. We can work with helplines to integrate against their data systems. So if we want to pass the data between Aselo and their existing systems, we can set that up. We'd love to hear more about what types of integrations you're looking for. So feel free to reach out via the email address, contact@aselo.org if there are specific integrations that you have in mind. We'd love to hear more about the use cases.
Thank you. So I'll pull another one here from Tara. It says, would this be compliant with use in a domestic violence confidentiality issue? And how does the person on the other end not get caught using it if someone looks through their phone? So I think, Tara, is any clarification here on which product you're referring to, but I'm assuming it's for a sale. And if so, Dee, if you have any.
Yeah, I can answer that since that definitely has come up as something we've thought about. And so we're definitely looking into ways to help protect the child in case it's not safe for them to have that message be viewed. So for example, we're looking at ways where we can automatically on their phones potentially clear the web chat if they've reached out through web chat. We want to build something in to be able to clear the conversation. I think we're also looking at how we can share best practices resources to kids to say, here's how to delete messages off your phone, or here's how to clear things on Facebook. And so it depends on the channel, obviously, that they're reaching out via, but we're exploring different ways to make sure that the child is safe or whoever is calling in whatever the situation might be so that they remain safe. So some of that is through tech, and then some of that is through kind of resources.
Perfect. Thank you. And this is from Colin for Jacob. If you are here to answer, can Twilio Flex be run with Salesforce on independent cybersecure servers? I have a potential suicide prevention application in Ukraine that would require exceptionally secure data given ongoing conflict.
Hi, Colin. It's a great question. And certainly your concerns around cybersecurity, especially around the conflict in Ukraine, are well understood. I will be perfectly frank that I am not the technical guru at Twilio. And so I think the best thing for me to do is to reach out to the team and make sure that you have the support you need to talk through the exact concerns you have around how to handle that data. And we'll figure out something to help you address those concerns. And thank you also for the.
I think, Jacob, we might have another question, if that's okay. So some helplines direct users to send a regular text message to initiate contact. When using a platform like Twilio, how can this be accommodated to work within HIPAA compliance, considering the issues with regular SMS communication?
Yeah, it's a great question. The best way to think about some of these different channels is certainly some channels Twilio offers are secure and encrypted. We offer an API for WhatsApp, for example. And then others are, by their very nature, not going to be secure encrypted channels like SMS. And so the best way to handle things like that is thinking about which information you're going to pass through over channels that cannot be secure and which ones you're going to leave to those secure channels. And this is another case where it's best to answer that question by talking specifically about the use case you're trying to manage and how you want to think about which data to pass through over SMS, which to leave to voice, and other things like that to maintain HIPAA compliance. At the end of the day, Twilio does offer services to enable you to create a HIPAA compliant solution. So if you're interested in talking about that more, please reach out to me. My email is jtalbot@twilio.com. We'd be happy to get you in touch with the right person to talk through that. Also welcome any other folks on the line here who have thought through HIPAA compliance on your own platforms to share any ways that you've thought about managing some of that data as well.
Thank you so much. Okay, perfect. Let's see here. Feel free to keep dropping in more questions into the Q&A here as we kind of scroll through them. Let's see. So Rena says, I'm curious if there is a way to integrate phone and chat so that people are able to contact either way. And additionally, curious about how you leverage multilingual support and translation. I think this is an open question for everyone.
I can start by answering on the Aselo side. The whole point of Aselo is that it is an omni-channel platform. Helplines might have a phone number and they might have a Facebook page or a web chat widget or a text, a number that they could text. And so the idea is that Aselo supports calls or chats that come in from whatever platform the child is using. In terms of multilingual support, there are a few different things that we do in order to support the caller if they speak a different language. For example, the chatbot I mentioned, one way that we've implemented the chatbot is the first question the chatbot asks is maybe what is your preferred language? And we work with the helpline to figure out what the common languages are in that area. We can then translate the chatbot into that appropriate language. And then we can also try to route the chat or the call to a counselor that speaks that language as well. So that's one example of how we support multilingual for.
I think similarly for us, we support very specific languages in the countries in which we operate. So right now in the United States, we support English. When we open in Mexico, we will be supporting in Spanish only. There are additional countries we're looking to open up shop where there will be multiple languages in a single country. And we have a localization team that is working specifically on a couple of efforts. One effort is to translate the technology we use for our supervision and counseling to the native language that our counselors will be operating in. They'll also be working on translating every aspect of the youth experience. We do have, it's not really a bot, but we do have automated intake questions that are sent to a young person if they reach out via SMS. So we'll also have a localization team working to translate that. We also do, as we're starting to do in Mexico, we're doing a lot of ethnographic user experience research before we actually open in a country. So during that UX research, we're also working with real young people, potential users of our services, to look at things like colors, messaging, making sure that everything is culturally relevant to them. So those are a couple of things that we're doing as we're supporting additionally.
Yeah, so to answer that question, currently we only offer hotline call support, although we do have plans in the future to open up SMS functionality. And for both of our US and Canada lines, in terms of multilingual support, currently we have it set up so that when you call the hotline, callers are instructed to press 1 to be linked to our English extension and press 2 to be linked to our Spanish extension. So all of our hotline call support services are offered for both English and Spanish speaking callers.
Perfect. Thank you all for answering.